again, thank you, Blessing, for taking the time to chat today. And I wanted to congratulate you on the upcoming release of new music that I know you have planned for the end of next month, February, I think it is.
Yes.
So can you share a little bit about the EP and the inspiration behind the music? And just to give you a heads up, we'll be posting this closer to the release date if that helps with your answer or not.
Absolutely. It's funny because I love songs and I love songwriting, and I am a Christian. And, when I kind of moved to Nashville, I realized that this is like a bifurcated concept for people. Like, is he a worship leader or is he a mainstream? You know what I mean? Like this whole idea of what is blessing, and it's not how the thing works in my brain. I just write songs. So I met up with Capital with Chris, and I was like, y'all, like, I'm happy to be anywhere I can be myself, and myself is a person who loves songs and who writes songs about like the full self. Blessing is a Christian and is a guy who experiences life, and so I just love writing songs that encompass like my full person.
Absolutely. That's such a great way to try to knock down the walls that sometimes can be put up around that too. I agree.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. So you mentioned that this like theme for you, it sounds like, is the whole person, and trying to explain that. How did that evolve in pieces as you were creating the music, or did it kind of stay true to your initial thought as you were working through the tracks?
So it's a 6-track EP. It all kind of started with Tin Roof, which is the first song that I guess caught the ears it needed to catch. And that song even is a tricky song because I've played it, and I play it at shows that are not at churches. I play it at all my shows, and any song I write, I never think, is this a song for church, or is this a song for? It's just a song. So, there are people that hear Tin Roof and have no like spiritual connection, but feel the sentiment of it, and then there are people that hear it and immediately connect with it on a spiritual level. Both are totally fine with me. It's just I want people to feel, and the people that know where I'm coming from on a spiritual level, obviously, can feel it in a different way. But it's like I wanted to write songs that allow people to imagine themselves in that song wherever they are and whatever they might think about anything. So I think all in all, it's every song on the EP stays true to that.
That's great. I'm curious if there's a track on the EP, or maybe even a lyric within one of the tracks, that means something differently to you now than when you first wrote it.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, great question. Ooh. Okay. So there's a song on there. Sorry, my phone keeps talking. There's a song on Brighter Days that says the song's called Believe, and the lyric is, "What if you will something I won't?" Right? What if you will something what if you how does it go? What if you know something I don't? What if you will something I won't? Right? So, and then the rest of the line says, "If you don't give me what I want, but you give me what I need, is that enough to believe?" Right? So I wrote that. It's funny because when you're writing a song, you're like, I need a channel to move me from verse to chorus, and you're thinking in this very methodical, creative flow space, right? But then after that, when I look back at that lyric, I'm like, my God, that was accidentally really profound. You know what I mean? I was like, where did that come from? So it went from just this like, I'm a songwriter, and here's, oh, listen, I just said, what if you will something I won't? And will takes on two meanings, and won't is kind of the opposite. So like the creative flow space that lets you do the thing, and then afterwards you look back on it and you go, that there was a gift, So it's in hindsight, the lyrics kind of hit you differently when you finish the writing process and you get to listen to it as a writer, as a listener, and even a performer. Like when I went to record the final vocal to that song, I was like, man, these words, I think they're gonna resonate with somebody. So that's an exciting part.
That's fantastic. How are you looking to define success for this EP? I mean, I know different people have different, different definitions, and even
Yeah.
one person can have different definitions for different projects. So I'm curious what you're looking for this project for success to be.
We made this EP as an intro to Blessing Offor. Like, here's Blessing, the piano player, the singer, the songwriter. Here are a batch of songs that cover all the aspects of Blessing, the spiritualist, the believer, Blessing, the kind of dreamer, Blessing, the optimist, brighter days. Just all the different aspects. Like, here's Blessing in a solid 6-track nutshell. And I think success for me would be that the listener of this EP goes, oh, now I want more. So I want it to be a really great appetizer that prepares the listener for even more.
That's fantastic. That's a great goal to have too. That's great. I'm curious. Who or what you're currently drawing inspiration from, musically, spiritually,
Yeah.
can take that as you want.
Well, currently, I lived in New York for a time, so I'm a huge Tim Keller fan. So I read his article in The Atlantic. I think it was called like, what is it? My faith in the face of death, or something like that, because he has pancreatic cancer, and so I follow him on Twitter. Just to watch somebody live out what he preaches, so to speak, is really, really inspirational on a deep level. I'm just a nerd about that guy. So that's what I've got all his books on my phone, et cetera, et cetera. Musically, I'm watching huge Spotify New Music Friday fan. Who is on there right now? The Bieber stuff, obviously, not to be super cliche. Ed Sheeran's new record. Just really, I love to know that what I'm making is as competitive with pop music as I would want it to be. So I like to study the marketplace and make sure that we're doing what we need to do to fit right in that marketplace, regardless of what CCM is or isn't doing. Like, I want to make music that if you heard it right after an Ed Sheeran track, you wouldn't go, what happened? You know what I mean? Like, where'd the quality go? That's kind of my life goal. So that's how I listen to other people's music, is always to learn what's happening, to learn what the trend is, to learn what production kind of is and out of vogue. Just even if I plan on doing it differently, I want to be purposeful in regards to the market.
Absolutely. I'm curious, since you've said a few times that this album, or this EP, excuse me, is an introduction to Blessing, and you obviously are a songwriter and everything else, which you put your life experiences, I'm sure, that affect what you're writing and everything. So what is it that you are trying to share, or how do you think that you truly come across in this EP?
Whoa, how do I come across? That's deep. I always hesitate when people tell me that how much I know. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, you've been through so much. I don't know that wisdom is anything I ever ascribe to myself or like give myself credit for, but I know that there is shallow happiness, and then there's like deep joy, and I'm in the deep joy category, which doesn't always mean things are awesome and peachy keen, but it does mean that underneath whatever is happening, there's a calmness. And so if somebody can listen to that EP and feel the calmness of deep joy, then I think that I'm happy about that.
That's fantastic. That's a good answer. I know that sometimes that didn't want to throw you for that one, but it was
No,
something
you're
that I was
fine.
thinking of as we were going through. Um, so my next question is again going back to a little bit of what you said earlier about wanting your music to be music, a little bit simpler words than I'm sure you used, and having less of those divisions. I'm curious how you see then some of the collaborations of genres and people
Yeah.
and coming together with that, and how, your take on how that can enhance the music as well.
Man, collaborations are some of my favorite things. I from I grew up in Connecticut. Um, I had the choice of going to Berklee College of Music or Belmont, and I chose Belmont because it was further away from where I grew up, and because I couldn't go home easily. You know, uh, and granted, I only stayed at Belmont for 3 semesters, but I came to Nashville because no one knew me here, and I wanted something different. So I feel like directionally, I've always just been in pursuit of something different, because I think all the people I've looked up to have had the ability to kind of transcend genres or blend genres or just live in this space where it's okay to just be yourself. You know, like Lionel Richie made a country record, Bob Dylan made a country record. You know what I mean? Uh, there is such a thin line in when you start talking about genres, and I think getting to work with Chris, writing a song that Tyler Hubbard sang on, um, and just getting to do, write songs with Natalie Hemby and kind of live in this country space and be embraced by it is literally kind of exactly what I was looking for, just because I could go to LA, I could go to New York, and there'd be a lot of me in LA and New York, but I wanted to be somewhere that forced me to learn new things and where I could present something to the community that was maybe a little different. So the collaboration is is the whole point. You know what I mean? Like blending and cross pollinating and all this kind of stuff. That's what I love.
That's awesome. Again, I wanted to thank you for taking the time. I know we're coming close, so I'm gonna have one final question for you.
Yeah, continue.
What are you most expectant for in this coming year? I mean, the EP release is obviously going to be something big coming up, but I'm curious with the whole year ahead of you, what you're most expectant for.
I'm going to just acknowledge the word expectant really quick because that's a great word. um, what am I expectant for? I honestly, the EP, the other work coming up is really, really exciting, but I think more than anything, I can't wait to be on the road again. No pun intended. Meet people. Like I'm a 7 to whom it may concern. So like I thrive on people. So we were in Texas a few weeks ago, and there's a Miami trip and an LA trip coming up. So I keep telling my my team, I was like, the more you can put me on the road, the happier of a human being I'll be. So I'm really, really looking forward to every opportunity to go out and play in front of people and just meet everybody.
That's awesome. That I I am sure a lot of people are looking forward to that too at this point. So, well, I just want to thank you again, Blessing. It was a pleasure talking to you today, and I wish you the best of luck with this project coming up.